Hello everyone, welcome to the session. In our previous session, we have learned about controlling, and moving on from that, we are going to learn about business finance. So, financing in business are of three types. The first finance refers to how a business handles its cost and the revenue. So, how to allocate its resources so as to find the maximum result in running a business. Second form is how to spread the profit of the business. So obviously a business will have shareholders who has invested in that, and at the end of the year, if the company earns some sort of revenue and a net profit, what to do with the profit, whether to use it for investment purposes, whether to expand the business, or whether we want to give the profit to the shareholders as bonuses or dividends. That's one kind of finance. And the third kind is how to improve, how to use the raised capital, how to acquire debts or capital from the public or from other investors. So how a business wants to raise money through loans or issuing preference shares or equity shares or dividends or bonds, and how to invest those money in expanding the business, whether we want to set up a new plant or whether we want to acquire a company, so on and so forth. So all this combined together will be called the business finance. So to start with this, we will see a case study with respect to Tata Steel's acquisition of Chorus. This will show us how the business finance is being used for a normal transaction. So acquisition, as we all know, happens in a lot of companies. So how to carefully manage and take decisions with respect to finance to make anything possible. So Tata Steel, the biggest steel producer in the Indian private sector, has acquired Chorus, formerly known as British Steel, in a deal worth 8.6 billion United States dollars. So this makes Tata Steel the fifth largest steel producer in the world. A financial decision of this magnitude has significant implications for both Tata Steel and Chorus, as well as their employees and shareholders. So they're saying that Tata Steel, as we all know, is the biggest steel manufacturer in the country. So Chorus is also one of the biggest manufacturers in the world. By acquiring Chorus, Tata Steel has become the fifth largest steel manufacturer in the whole world. So therefore, this is an acquisition business. As we have learned in entrepreneurship, there are various kinds of acquisition: vertical, horizontal, product based, market based. This seems like a market based acquisition, meaning that Tata Steel, who is already a steel manufacturer, is purchasing Chorus Steel, who is also a steel manufacturer but from a different market. So by doing this, Tata Steel has expanded its business to Europe. Therefore, this is a financial decision that has made Tata Steel expand its market. Therefore, this decision has its magnitude that affects both Tata and Chorus Steels, and also the stakeholders and the shareholders. How does it do so? Means maybe this we will see afterwards. So after this acquisition, Tata Steel will become the fifth largest producer of steel in the world. Like I said before, Tata Steel will raise a debt of over $8 billion to finance the transaction. So the whole transaction is 8.6 billion, and that does not include other charges and regulation fees and everything. Just to pay the company, this is $8.6 billion, out of which a debt is raised of $8 billion by Tata Steel Indian company. The deal will be paid by Tata Steel UK, a special purpose vehicle set up for this purpose. Special purpose vehicle set up for this purpose means they have started a new company in United Kingdom named Tata Steel United Kingdom, specially for arranging this transaction of giving loan to Tata Sons or Tata Steel about $8 billion in cash. So sometimes this happens because some of the countries have regulations which prohibit a foreign company from purchasing their own company, or a foreign company who is also a market leader in purchasing the company. So they are doing this to avoid a monopoly of a certain company. But how can companies come over this decision? Means they can found a new company in the country. For example, iPhone does not have a manufacturing facility. I mean, Apple does not have a manufacturing facility in India. So therefore, what they have to do is they have to manufacture their phones in China, and they will sell. I mean, then they will transport iPhones from China to India. So if you're importing any product from a different country, you need to pay import charges, import taxes. It's called a custom duty. So after you paying custom duty, any goods, let us say if it is worth 50,000, it could its price could go up to 80,000 or 90,000 also. It depends on what product it is. There are various charges along with the custom duties that you need to pay for importing. So since the original iPhone will cost only 50,000, but after paying customs duty it increases up to 80,000. To avoid this increase in costing, I mean, obviously if the cost price increases, the number of people who will buy the iPhone will decrease. Therefore, if the cost price is only 50,000, maybe more people will buy iPhones. So to make that possible, Apple company has decided to set up a new plant in India. So after they are setting up a new manufacturing facility in India, they can manufacture their phones in India itself. Therefore, they do not have to pay customs duty, and the phones will be sold cheaper than before. Like this, Tata had some regulatory issues in acquiring the Core Steel directly from India. So to make that possible, they have set up a new special purpose vehicle named Tata Steel UK in the United Kingdom, and through which they have acquired a loan of $8 billion to Tata Steel India. So that is $8 billion, and the remaining $1 billion will be invested by Tata Sons Limited, which is also an Indian company, but they invested through subsidiary company from Singapore, which is also a subsidiary of Tata company, and that pays $1 billion, and also Tata Steel from India will in turn invest $1 billion. So there are $10 billion in total. $8 billion will be provided by Tata Steel United Kingdom as a debt, and $1 billion will be provided by Tata Steel, which they will raise from preference shares, and another $1 billion will be paid by Tata Steel India. So this is how they are going to fund that acquisition. And after the total amount of this acquisition is 36,500 crores in Indian money. So Tata Steel will have to raise an amount through the debt or equity, but we know that there is both debt and equity in this decision. Tata Steel hopes to increase the production capacity to about 40 million tons and revenue by $32 billion, which says that after it becomes the fifth largest steel manufacturer in the world, it will be able to produce 40 million tons per year, and a revenue of $32 billion. Even if that gives you only 20% profit, that will still be $6.4 billion. That is considerably closer to the total acquisition value. Therefore, Tata Steel will be able to repay whatever the debt that they have raised through the acquisition in a matter of years. So therefore, it also may affect the competitiveness of Tata Steel, because the cost of production of steel in all probability will change. So the whole point in this decision, as we have seen in the entrepreneurship lesson, is that Tata Steel is a cheap manufacturer of steels. So the quality is good, but Tata Steel as an Indian company has cheap resources. Therefore, they manufacture the steel and sell it in a cheap rate. But Core Steel is manufactured in United Kingdom. Their cost of manufacturing is too high, their labor charges are too high, but their quality is also very much up to the standard. Therefore, Core Steel has this quality as an advantage. But still, since Tata has acquired Core Steels, they can now not only sell good quality, high priced products, they can also sell low quality, low priced products. So that has affected its competitiveness, because their competitors will have to function more to compete with Tata Steel now. And the dividend paying capacity of Tata Steel may be affected because of the huge cash outflow, meaning that Tata Steel has spent about $8 billion in cash and they have given it to Core Steel just to acquire the company. Therefore, they do not have enough resources or cash resources now to pay for the dividend, pay as a dividend to its shareholders. Obviously, we know that any company after earning profit will divide some of its profit and give it to the shareholders as dividends or bonuses. But now that is hard, it is tough for Tata Steel because it has just spent $8 billion to acquire the company. Therefore, they do not have enough cash resources, and the degree of risk shall also be affected. Needless to emphasize the decision. Every company will have a capital structure. So the capital structure means how much of the company's resources are financed through debt, and how much of the company resource of the company is financed through shareholding. So if a company has more debt than its shareholding, it means that the company has to pay more interest. But if the company is keeping on paying interest, it will not have enough money to distribute it to the shareholders. But whereas if the company has no debt at all, it only has a share capital, it means that all of the profit that the company earns will go as a profit, which means that they need to pay taxes for all the profit. So if they are paying if they are losing money by paying taxes, so to avoid this from happening, each company will have a certain amount of debt and share capital. So that's called capital structure. Capital structure is nothing but a balance between the debt and the capital of a company. So obviously this decision in Tata Steel affects the debt capital structure because they have acquired a debt worth $8 billion. So they need to pay interest for that $8 billion. So what we are learning from this is there are plenty of decisions, plenty of things to consider before coming to a decision like this. It includes that how much are we going to have to raise, how much money are we going to have to raise to make this acquisition, and where are we going to raise that money from, and if there are any regulations on behalf of both Indian country and Indian government and foreign government that will be a hindrance to this. And after the acquisition, which means post acquisition, will we be able to sustain the market in manufacture? Do we have enough resources to pay for the employees of both the companies after acquisition? Do we have enough resources for seamlessly manufacturing by both of the companies? So there are these plenty of decisions that they need to make. This is what we call as business finance. So business finance is concerned with how we are using our finance to expand our business. So this is one of the most important functions of a business organization. We will see further on how to do it in our upcoming sessions.